going ahead and rotating into game 2, and we're going to find out what happens.
Right on board with our current champion. You can see Jeesh
Shay.
and Apex Shay. Jeesh just going to be able to grab that cop car, be able to steal it and run away with it. Getting out of that fight. We saw a really early kill in that first game. This time not going to be, potentially going to be the case again. This time it is Tixi taking down Gorani.
I think Gorani was the first one out in game 1 as well.
That is just heartbreaking.
2 games in a row getting rushed down early. That is 100% feels bad. It speaks to kind of what Battle Royale is. There's a whole bunch of different things that can happen, and sometimes the stars align and they are not with you. And Gorani in a really rough spot to start this tournament.
We've seen Gorani be in opposite positions before. We've seen Gorani excel, but this time, this is going to be a rough one for him to get out of. Could still potentially get into the money if is able to pull down a first place, but you need a miracle like that to happen coming in the third game. But Tixi going to be the one to get the kill. Love watching Tixi play.
Shay actually still has a vehicle there, so there was still a car, just not the one he wanted. So there was the pickup truck, and there was also that cop car. He's going to go ahead and get that pickup truck, and we see Kolji right out here out the back heading out. Fairly looted so far, though. He does have some, looked like he had a shotgun, had the AR, helmet, tan, so a lot of players already with your bare minimum things that you need. Apex Shay actually with quite a bit of ammo there. It looked like on that AK, almost 200 rounds.
Yeah, Apex Shay inside of that truck, as you have mentioned, definitely not as high value as the police car. You can talk about the different values of the vehicles. The main thing with the truck, it is really good in those destructible environments. If you are in a residential area like the one on our screen right now, it can be very strong. But one of the things to know is it's relatively easy to knock helmets off. Just take helmets away from someone inside the truck, potentially even get a kill. But this safe zone, nothing like what we saw up near Misty Peak Reservoir that pulled down to Ranchito. This time, we have a chance for a Ruby Lake finish.
Yeah, so this Ruby Lake finish is something that we saw happen a few times in Atlanta. This circle has a ton of space missing from it. You're missing 30-40% of this circle on the opening. On the very first circle, the lake's eating up a bunch of dead space. You lose a bunch to the edge of the map. So we're going to have a more compacted first safe zone. Also, we're not talking about areas that are city that have a ton of players sitting right on top of each other. We're a little bit more scattered in terms of POIs. There are some buildings where we may see some people kind of group up, kind of close to where 10K is. There's some shops, but most of these guys are going to go for center. So Memento already pretty close. Vishing's Peak, the radio tower there, probably a really strong point. The gas station right below it as well. Expect people to start rotating there. That'll be some of the earlier spots that we see start getting taken up and some real estate that people really want.
As we've already seen with safe zones, the initial safe zone like this, you were the one who said it, but the main thing is you need that third, maybe that fourth pull of the safe zone to really have a strong idea where that center is going to be. But even at the first one, you can start to take those high percentage plays.
Especially when there's stuff missing like this.
Vishan's Peak, going for radio tower, that's the high percentage play. There's a risk that it doesn't pull in that direction and you need to get off and you might run straight into someone's crosshairs. But in the chance that it does pull there, you put yourself in a place to potentially take this one home. So yeah, I like going for the radio tower, rotating there as early as possible.
Even if it does pull away, you're setting yourself up to not have to travel as far of a distance if it does pull away. By being at that center spot, it reduces the amount of time that you have to put yourself at risk getting from point to point. So that's why people do like to play that center safe zone. But if it does pull away, we have chances at some open field battles, possibly a small POI with a couple buildings scattered in it. But a lot of the safe zone is mountainous and covered with trees. So this is going to be a very different finish than we saw in Game 1.
Speaking of mountainous, we had Mountain on our screen for just a second there. And the big thing with Mountain, straight up got on this desk, looked us in the eyes, and said he wants to ride the gas as much as possible. Now with that Jeep,
we'll have to see. Get his toxicity level up.
Yeah, if that's the strategy, once again, are we going to see that play for the toxicity, or will he have to do what he did in the last game? And in the last game, we saw him starting to do that strategy and then goes, okay, it's not going to work with the city finish. This time around, going to need to do it. But with the safe zone that we've seen, I think it could be a very valid strat.
Yeah, so with this safe zone, it's definitely a more available option here, not having the city. So let's say it pulls Veshing's Peak.
Yeah.
You can come in from that west side of Veshing's Peak and basically have cover traveling through the mountain and all the trees all the way over to the radio tower. So you can make late rotations into this safe zone, where a late rotation into Ranchito spells disaster. A late rotation here can be a play that works. And we're going to see some shots coming out from Memo, a player that was fairly aggressive in the last game as we saw him press in onto T-hump. He is going to step out into the open, take some shots into Morningstar, gets a few connections, but Morningstar going to return a few shots extra of his own and back Memo off.
Morningstar looking very comfortable and dominant inside of that fight. And you can see him with some nice movement coming out there, trying to avoid some shots, but Crumb is going to fall down off screen. This time it's going to be to Chipsy. Memo still engaged in this gunfight with Morningstar starting to move further and further away because he is the player who just continually is taking the shots in this one. Now, talking back to riding the gas this time around, one thing I do want to know, if Mountain or any other players do attempt to go for this strategy, they don't have a full ring to crash in on because a lot of that safe zone is lost already. So it's going to be much harder to come from the south, to come from the east if you are riding that gas. So it's something to think about.
South actually might not be that
if
bad.
It pulls away from it.
Well,
yeah.
If somebody decides to maybe make that kind of off the map, there's a little bit of space off map that is still available, and you're not going to really take that damage. If you go too far off the bottom of the map, it starts just the map ends up killing you. But there is a little bit of dead space down there that's available just off the map, and somebody could make a late rotation through that fairly safe, but then you're coming down the mountain to try and get out of there, and most players don't really go for that. Really that center safe zone, but if somebody like Mountain or somebody that wanted to do that, you could do a very late rotation off the south side of the map.
That was the main thing I was thinking of, though. Just coming through south seems like a risky play. So you are bottlenecking yourself in a way to have to come from either the north or to come in from the west. And we'll have to take a look at that a little bit later on. The gas is going to be spreading now, but we still do have plenty of time. But we can see majority of the players have already made it into the safe area and potentially into the areas that are going to be safe moving forward, even into the mid game, mostly clustered around that radio tower area, but also a lot of them, you can see names like FJ just all the way in the south portion of the map.
Yeah, and we're going to see Hal here. One of the things to note was that I did see Mountain already within that safe zone, so it doesn't look like he's making a late rotation yet, but we talked about it before, making that nade kill going to come out and blow up that vehicle onto Hansen, so Imperial Hal going to net himself the 4th kill of this match. But one of the things to note with that strategy, and we keep going back to Mountain because he's the one that said that he was going to do it, is that you don't want to start building your toxicity this early. You want to get there to the edge, and then if you're going to do a late game rotation, you want to have enough room left on your toxicity bar to do that late rotation into the safe zone. If you build your toxicity up too early, especially before players are starting to fight, you're really doing yourself a disservice. If you want to play that strategy, you want to play it late, step into the gas late, so that you can live a little bit longer in there.
Oliver, the miracle child, able to pick up a kill here as well.
Sweet dreams. Looks like he's found himself a spot to hang out for a little bit. He was our winner from Atlanta. See if he can maybe have a little bit stronger game 2. I know that he probably went down much sooner than he wanted to in that first game. Hal looks like he might be deciding to take off. Actually, it looks like he might be stacking the car with some loot. Going to run back inside. We're going to see Morningstar take a hit here now from Carta. Going to take a few more shots in the side now. Memo still in the area, showing him that he's still around.
Memo was so behind in this fight as well. We saw Morningstar just outgunning Memo, but Memo coming back, knowing that Morningstar may be for the taking at this point, moving around, trying to find a better line.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to go for quite such an aggressive play. When you're doing it inside, you have a little bit more cover, hard cover coming in. Trying to run through open field at somebody, even if they're down to one shot, is really rough because they do have that peeker's advantage where they can kind of put pressure on you and you can't really fight back. So, little rough. Don't see him trying to make that type of aggressive push onto somebody in trees.
We've seen, though, the potential for that player to get aggressive, but there's a difference between aggressive and stupidity. And we know that this player is not stupid, not going to go for something like that, something that greedy.
Yeah, so this spread is very different. So we can see where all of Eshen's Peak, all of the hills, the mountains, the trees, everybody kind of doing that rotation down through the south where you have a lot of different things to be able to get cover. But these guys that are getting in a little bit sooner right now are going to be at risk that don't quite make it all the way to center, that are down along that south edge, everybody else coming in behind them. We're going to see a bunch of guys get really compacted and kind of slayed out and pinched there in that southwest region of the map. That's really where we're seeing the stack of players at right now.
One of the players we will jump in on is Razar.
Is that ATV parked inside the camper? I do believe there's an ATV in the door of that camper.
It looks like that ATV is parked inside of the camper.
Something went very wrong, or maybe he's trying to protect the vehicle. That's an interesting one. I haven't seen that one too often.
It looks like an idea maybe trying to protect the vehicle. Having two vehicles here is going to be Rizar, both the Jeep and the ATV, and you can see the Jeep's already sustained some damage here, only having a little under bit that 70 threshold, having 69 there. And you know, I think the main thing is if you can protect one of those vehicles. ATV going to be a little bit lower value than the Jeep, but you can't jam the Jeep inside of the camper. So I like that coming out there.
Kudos to anybody that can.
Yeah, you know, that
you
would
figure
be
it
a
out. Let me
tricky
know.
Play. Yeah, that would be a tricky, cheeky play to
Anybody's
pull
gonna do that? It's gonna be Triv. Triv will figure it out.
Or Oliver. I feel like Oliver could keep a police car inside of a camper at this point, pulling off the most ridiculous things over and over again. But I agree, Triv has done it as well. But
Triv's actually the Racer Gamer 101 professor, but this safe zone, nasty.
This is disgusting. So there's a very real chance. You talk about the high percentage play, maybe going towards the peak, maybe going towards the radio tower. Looks like as we get to the next ring, that might not even be an available route. We're also going to continue to lose portions of the map to boundaries. Now, inside of the police car, sustaining a little bit of damage is going to be Noise. Rhino getting those shots in. Rhino was able to slay out a little bit in the last game. We'll have to see if Rhino can do it again. Rhino having a vehicle of his very own in tow of Noise.
Dropped, player that we've talked about quite a bit. Going to take a couple AK shots over in the direction of Cryptid. Not able to get those kills, not able to land those shots. Hopefully Cryptid doesn't have a run-in with the bombs again this round. We did see him go down to that bomb plane last game, which definitely was a feels bad.
Indeed. That was quite rough. We've had a few of those deaths. We had some early ones coming in as well that don't feel good.
Flame going to go
not the
down
best way to start
there.
off the game. Flame getting taken out early. Flame got taken out relatively early last time around as well, so it's looking rough for
30s,
him.
I believe. Yeah, he was kind of in that mid game there in the inside of the residential area, I believe, last match. So 30 and in the 50, he's going to need a really strong game 5 to get him to that top 10.
Now, we haven't
Solid
brought
game
it up
3,
at
sorry.
all for the players that might just be tuning in to watch the championship. This is, of course, the solo finals. What are the loadouts that players were trying to achieve? We're pretty much done that looting phase at this point.
Shotgun, AR, throwable. That is the loadout these guys are looking for. Some of them may feel comfortable having an AK. There's a couple guys that are still doing that AK, AR, shotgun, and then swapping in the throwable. But we're basically looking at shotgun, AR, throwable. Is
And
what these guys are
that
going
makes
for.
what we're seeing currently very interesting. 10K having that crossbow equipped for a little while there. You could hear the explosions coming in as well.
Yeah, so 10K. The E-tips, that's something that we haven't really seen play out. We did see it play out a little bit from Piney yesterday in the solo qualifiers, but we really haven't seen it come too much into play yet today. We'll end up seeing if maybe somebody goes for that. I think, again, I've talked about Triv a couple times, but if somebody's going to pull it out, Triv's the guy that's going to do it. So we'll see if maybe he ends up bringing it to the finals.
We did see Piney do that in the solo qualifiers on Friday, and the main thing was he was able to create area of denial. He was able to bully a player who was behind the rock, and reacting to something like that, because when you talk about that standard loadout, players expect other players to be going for that. And, you know, that is the thing you need to prepare for. Preparing for every scenario sometimes puts you in a position where you're checking for ghosts that don't exist, and you go down to something that was right in front of your face. So you should play for the simple stuff. But having Piney do that, for example, he's able to pick up a kill because it does catch players off guard. So a good play by 10K there, being very mobile, being able to pick up something like that on the fly and put players to the test. Zinko, one of our highest performing players, going to go down to dropped here in that 50 range.
And we talked about it. A first place can probably net you guaranteed into the top 10. A second place or a third place is a big drop off in points, and it does not guarantee you that. You need that consistency across the matches. He is not guaranteed top 10 based off of that performance in game 1. So he's going to need to show up big in the next match. Going down this early is really rough. Sloth, player from yesterday, was doing great. We're going to see him get a couple shots here into 50 Shades. 50 Shades extremely low here. He has the shotgun ready. AK going to come out from Sloth. Actually swaps to the AR to get that finish. And he's actually running a different loadout than what we've seen other people. So he is not running a shotgun or MP7 for the close range. He is using the AK, and there are a few players that like to do this. The AK is still a full automatic weapon, firing a little bit slower, but still really strong in those close range engagements. And he's going to be able to get a few early shots in and close that one out with the AR.
Very nice play coming in there. Back on board with Morningstar. Morningstar was in that fight earlier on with Memo. Now able to get away with this ATV out of that engagement. Oliver, though, with the sight on him 150 meters off. We're going to have to see Morningstar drop that smoke, try to obscure the vision of Oliver. Oliver not wanting to get too aggressive here. We can see also Oliver's car seems to be pretty damaged at this point. That will affect Oliver in this mid-game. Vehicle still very important here. We'll see a lot of players trying to drop some laser beams into those vehicles, get them nice and damaged, take them away from players so they are easier to kill later on in the game. Memo and Prox, both with the toxic gas at their back, going to be advancing here in 30 seconds. Unless they want to build that toxicity up, they are going to have to move in tow with it, trying to get to that safe zone. And we do have plenty of new people watching here for these finals. For players that might not... Oh, the helmet going to be able to get popped off. Memo instantly pops up another one. Going to have to ENAS a little bit, trying to avoid Prox. Try to line up these shots. Finally going to find Purchase as well. On board with Prox now in the same fight. Prox gets pinched. Prox may fall down. The smoke drops just a little bit too late. Deacon able to grab this kill. And as the sirens do ring and that fight starts to subside, we can see Deacon still letting out some shots, maybe trying to clean up on Memo here. Deacon, a man possessed, looking for kill after kill. Memo inside of the smoke, able to subdue the fighting for now. Deacon rotates back just a little bit, so Memo won't know the location as well. Just because Memo dropped the smoke, he won't be able to see Deacon either. So changing up that field of view a little bit is a good play.
I like this from Deacon. So Deacon being able to basically, we talk about being able to play dead pockets, and it looks like that's what he was kind of trying to do. He's playing the center. He knows he has a vehicle. Nobody's really around him. If he can clear whatever's on the gas side of him and kind of cut out his own little slice of pie there, it's hard to press up on him. So if he clears out everything behind him, then he has an entire direction he doesn't have to worry about. We are going to lose Mountain, though, to Chow H1, so Mountain going to go down a little bit earlier here.
Now, with Mountain going down as well and being one of those players talking about riding the gas, and I was talking about new viewers actually watching, want to make sure that they know exactly how this strategy does work. You actually do build up toxicity, so for anyone who's watching for the first time, might be curious about how that strategy does work. What do you have to think about when you are building that toxicity?
So you basically need to understand what damage, at what gas ring you are, because each gas ring does more damage. It progresses throughout the game, and then your toxicity level. It basically builds up over time while you're in the gas. Once it hits 100%, it's going to start doubling the damage that the gas is doing to you. So you have to start doing math, which we have both determined that we are not good at. But
we
you
go for the center of safe zones every time.
We are a center safe zone team. I do not have the brain power to figure out that math. But you're basically trying to out-heal and stabilize yourself versus the gas with healing. So you have to stack a lot. You need a ton of first aid kits, and you need a lot of bandages because you're going to eat a ton of healing resources in that gas. So you need to overcompensate for that.
Doing that strategy takes an incredible amount of game knowledge and awareness of how much damage you'll be taking at any given second. Rolling those heals, like you said, is going to be very important, but you need to know exactly how much each ring of gas is going to be doing and how much you can take based off of that toxicity as well, and knowing when that toxicity, when you're using the toxicity as a resource, when you can afford to build. Another kill going to come in here. We can see Memento, though, is still going to be up. And trying to move back and forth, just peeking out, trying to see if anyone is around. And you can hear a few of the shots coming out. Memento trying to figure out, am I in a dead pocket or not? Is this an area that I can hold on to?
And that's one of the biggest things, is that as much as your ability to shoot plays into this, your ability to know your surroundings, listen for where fights are, start recognizing what players where. Some of these guys know the players and know their habits really well, so you can start predicting how a fight's going to go if you decide to take an engagement. If you have to go one direction or the other, and you know each guy on each side, and you know that you can beat the one guy because he has a certain habit that he does, those things come into play. So people having knowledge of the other players is also something that doesn't get talked about a lot, but there's guys that definitely recognize, just based on movement, they can tell who they're up against.
That was a big thing as well when we were over at TwitchCon. I had a chance to talk to Cloak. Love every opportunity I get to talk to the guy, madman, but talking to him, and he was saying he's looking for specific names in the kill feed because he knows he can play around it if those players are gone. Candyvan going to be taken down by Rhino. We didn't get to see too much out of Candyvan last time around. Really nice footwork coming here from Cryptid. doing that dance, trying to avoid those shots. And as you can see, still does have that helmet, still does have that armor, has plenty of ammo to work with. Radic here going to be in a fight with Deacon, who we've already seen pick up 1 kill. And on top of picking up that 1 kill, just having incredible map awareness, looking for that dead pocket, as you were saying, and also using that vehicle to get around that smoke and find a good fight. Huskers and Morningstar both going to go down. Jish is going to be the one to pick up that kill on Morningstar. Morningstar being very elusive, already trapped in a few fights here.
And Jish in a good spot here, still up, had that second place finish in game 1, so he set up pretty good so far. Still in it, needs to make it a little bit further. You definitely want repeat top 10 performances here to guarantee yourself a really high placement, so he's definitely still feeling a little bit of pressure here.
Jish was already low and then dips back down a little bit. Jish not out of it yet. Aladdin. This is one of the guys who had incredible placement, 3rd place coming out from the last stop of the H1Z1 Elite Series over in Atlanta. He's going to be cut down at 45th. Gwesmer inside of the building. Highlighted Gwesmer earlier as one of these insane close range players. Did fall, though, in a close range scenario. Jish has not been able to retreat from full engagements at this point after picking up that kill. It's aces inside of the same smoke. This seems to be something that we just see so much. 2 bodies, 1 smoke, 1 does not make it out alive. Jish moving on over to the rock, and just in time because an explosive is going to go in. A heads-up play trying to cut down the player that is hidden inside of the smoke. Prodigy Ace is going to be able to jump on over and get this kill, but he's not healthy. Shot still coming at him, trying to dip in and out, tries to run back to that smoke as well for safety. Rolling that heal, should be able to stabilize here and pops on the helmet just in time, but you could see just barely, still ticking down all the way to 2, and finally gonna start to heal up.
See that flashbang come out from Howie, ends up getting a molly in return. We're gonna see Deacon go down in the kill feed to a grenade from Shurima. Car on fire. Howie gonna have to bail out of this one real quick. Car's down to about 8 to 10 shots, and it's going to blow up. He's going to go ahead and get out, get a smoke nade down. Shots coming in from the other side, though. Chow, I believe, or Oliver taking some shots out from that outside side. Sweet Dreams going to find himself a kill onto Pottis.
I mean, most of these kills that we are seeing in that kill feed, they aren't names that we've seen for the first time inside of this game. In fact, they're actually players that we have seen getting aggressive in the earlier parts of the game, and sure enough, they get punished for it in a lot of ways. This is that point, though, where you really do need to be marking your territory. Can't blame them for taking a lot of these fights, but only 39 players are going to remain. Gas advancing in about 15 seconds here, and there's a 308 inside of this crate.
Yeah, 308 is available, and again, you're talking about that. I believe we have somebody here. Can't quite make out the name yet, and that is going to be Shurima, who we just saw get that grenade kill. Shurima going to be able to get a hunting rifle. Going to grab that one. Shurima in a good spot. Definitely somebody that knows how to use that weapon effectively. We'll see how that plays out for him.
I think I know how it's going to play out. It is going to be terrifying.
Heads will roll.
And
we were talking about people having to take fights and kind of hold off their territory and mark their territory. It's much harder to do in that situation where we saw Jish, where you're out in open field and having to make use of a tree or a rock. There's a higher chance of you getting pressed than somebody trying to press you in a building. Every now and then we see it, like we saw with Memo and T-Hump, but it's not quite the same thing. And Memento going to get eliminated there by Die FPS.
As this gas starts to spread, we are going to see that finish that we have been waiting for. The tension has been building throughout the entire game, and now keep your eyes posted on that left corner of your screen because you are going to see names of players that you have just seen win tournaments over and over again going down, because the field of play is insane here. How is this finish going to play out compared to what we saw in the first game?
I'm waiting to see this next safe zone to see if it stays on top of the buildings or if maybe it pulls out and makes it forced out into these open areas. We're going to see Fairy Frogback get a kill onto Memo. Shurima still not able to find a shot yet with this hunting rifle, but really we're looking to see if it's going to be those cluster of buildings or if we're going to end up open field and trees. So we've still got a chance at 2 different safe zones. We definitely know it's not a city. We definitely know it's not going to be a top of the mountain end zone. So then Rhino gonna just laser into Konak there. Or sorry, Rhino did not get that. Imperial Hal actually comes in at the finish to get that. So Rhino giving a kill over.
Now, you know, usually when you're just trying to win, this should be an easy one for Rhino to finish off. Blood Inferno does put up a fight, but Rhino able to get it done. usually you're just like, okay, I just moved up one. I don't care who got the kill. But here today with this bounty system, that could take $3,000 out of your pocket.
I still don't think he cares. I think he's just happy the guy's not in his face anymore. Yeah. But yeah,
it does matter.
It does matter. Though.
Coming in with these pinches, being able to steal kills, that can net you $3,000. And if you're able to do it more than once, it can net you 9. Inside of this double smoke, we see both Riki and Wild safe inside of it for now. But if they bump into each other, this could spell defeat for either of them. And with Beast and Sign right here in the wings, they could easily come in and clean up. This could become a trade. Jumping in and out is going to be Riki at this point. No one's seeing him yet. Grimmy Bear for the first time going to be our focal point. Moving back on over to Carta. And now back on board with Wild in that fight with Riki. Riki pops out of the smoke, able to get one of them. Back inside, going to get the heals going. He has a Jeep in there as well. But just like that, Triv going to pop right onto him while he's in the vehicle. And he is going to take him out.
And then T-Hump is going to find a kill onto Sign and eliminates our winner from game 1. So we will not see a repeat winner here in game number 2.
Sign, though, already having a decent placement in this game. It's not exactly what you want. You don't get over that halfway threshold, but it's a lot better than those early ones. So he should be able to still stay into that 10K range. If he comes out with a breakout performance next time as well, should be able to bring home a large amount of prize money. But you do have to keep in mind, top 10 finishes are not going to be enough. If you have different people finishing in the top 10, really nice grenade throw going to come out of here. But if you have these top 10 finishes and you have different players in the top 10, only top 10 take money, then you have something like 30 players competing for that top 10. So the spread is going to be quite crazy. Beast going to go down here to Carta. And you can you hear that? That is the chatter of the gunfights that are going to not stop for the rest of the match. We have made it to the late game. 2 members of CLG being taken down. Douglas Raw, who was waiting on the wings, waiting on top of the building in all of last game, going to be able to pick up a hit kill here from Cryptid. Shurima Wizard should still have that 308 to be working with. Gwesmer once again with that shotgun, going to be able to take up a kill. And Sloth going to get a grenade fight. Already we're seeing the smokes placed all over the map. Everyone just trying to keep themselves safe. Sloth and Triv, 2 of these players that we love to talk about. Only one of them will be able to get out of here. Sloth moves back into the smoke as well. Now he does have a rock in between him. You can see Triv letting out some shots blind. Triv likes to do that sometimes with the SMG, trying to find a fight. FJ, who looked great in the solo qualifiers, going to end up at 18th place.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if Sloth came in and took Triv's car. It looked like he went in the smoke and came out in another vehicle. I think they both drove in, and he took the second vehicle and drove out of there. Rhino, we are going to see him get eliminated by Oliver, who we've seen already perform extremely well in that team environment.
If I die at this point in this game, I want to die to Oliver, because I know I'm at least making it to the highlight reel there. Because Oliver comes up with these crazy kills nonstop. Now Radic going to be able to get a grenade in. He's going to take down Howie, dropped on the outskirts. I love this positioning here. If he can pick up 1, maybe 2 kills, Triv, once again with this SMG, able to take out Doug as well. He's looking critical there, and he's going to get 2. Yeah, he takes out Sloth as well, but Gwesmer able to trade out there. Tixie's made it to the top 10. Oh no, we know how scary this could be.
Yeah, this could be good. Tixie, definitely the guy that showed up and gave us a show in Atlanta. See if maybe he can get a repeat. Noise going to go down to Gwesmer, and we are down to our top 10. We've got Oliver here taking some shots up towards Drop Kid, and we've got Razar in the wings back behind Oliver, so he's going to have to take one of these fights at some point.
If Tixie can do it again.
Gets a shot in. Finds Drop inside that smoke.
If Tixie can do it again, if he can repeat Atlanta, I am going to ask him to sign my mouse pad. Shurima Wizard now dipping in and out of the smoke. He's going to get hit. His body armor going to be taken off. Gwesmer doesn't have body armor either. Neither to any of these players. They are running out of resources moving forward. 10K is going to be inside of the smoke as well. Shurima Wizard and Carta on a collision course. You can see Gwesmer putting out some long distance rifling shots into Shurima Wizard through the smoke. Shurima Wizard able to get inside of that cop car. Can roll a heal at this point. T-Hump has made it much further into the later game. Last game he gets pressed. Now he's going to just cut through Gwesmer.
Laser beams that AK, gets control on it, gets a bunch of shots, loses a helmet, gets a new one on. New helmet's going to come off, though, finds another one. He is down a little bit, needs to get some healing off, but there's players everywhere. Not really a safe spot for him to just sit and heal yet, and we are going to see the fight come out. He is going to get cut down by Shurima, but in a much better placement than game 1. Immediately, we talked about it, getting a kill and then immediately following up in the screen on the wrong side of that. So Shurima gonna get a kill, get cut back down. Oliver almost dropping here, loses a helmet, ton of health. Gonna be able to stop and heal for a second, but here they come as they fight in the smoke. Dropkick gonna get taken out by Carta.
That was one of those situations where Oliver, he just moves out, and all of a sudden the Jeep's coming straight for him. Card going to be taken down by Tixi. Tixi looking to do it again. 10K already relatively unhealthy. Hops back into the cop car. He can see a player from Mocket. It's going to be MP. Lets out a couple of shots. And like you said, the trading, though, that we saw a little bit earlier, is going to stop. It should slow down a little bit. Only 4 players left. All of them going to try to stay cool and collected. Oliver picking up another one here. He has been slaying out. Tixi slaying out as well, already with 3 kills. Going to try to find the lines on these 3 players. You can see Oliver and 10K. Tixi can see them both. We have the Method Oliver rolling this heal. Yeah, a lot of cars are going to be cover as well at this point. 10K trying to get these shots onto Oliver, not going to be able to connect quite yet. Tixi starting to get low. Throwable got to connect onto Oliver. He needs to move up, jumps right out of that Jeep. He's taking some suppressive fire on both shots, able to take the kill off of Tixi. Now behind the rock, he's taking some time to heal. 10K needs to press. He needs to press here, but Oliver does the unthinkable and cuts him down. Oliver, time and time again. Look at this face, because Oliver is the miracle kid.
Oliver came in huge there. Definitely the right play from 10K to go ahead and make that press. He hopped just a touch too soon, a little bit too far back. I think it could have been a little bit. I think he could have been a little bit more aggressive with it, but he doesn't truly know just how low on health Oliver was. Oliver able to land some quick peek shots there though, and just finish it off and take down game.